My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. In today's gospel, Jesus, you encounter a possessed man. You and your disciples come across the sea to the territory of the Gerasenes. And when you get out of the boat, immediately a man comes forth from the tombs, a man who was possessed by an unclean spirit. And he was too strong for anyone to restrain him. They tried to chain him up, but he broke the chains. And night and day, he was howling among the tombs and on the hillsides, and he was bruising himself with stones. Gosh, Lord, sounds like the man was reduced to an absolute animal, howling night and day, running around the tombs like a jackal. And then when he sees you, he comes running forward towards you. And he prostrates himself before you and cries out in a loud voice, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I adjure you by God, do not torment me." Because even before that, you had been saying to the unclean spirit to come out of the man. And Jesus simply asks, "What is your name?" And the demon says, "Legion is my name, for we are many." And the demon continued to plead to you, Lord, to not drive them out of the territory. And then they said, "Instead, send us into the herd of pigs that was there on the hillside." And Jesus, you let them. You allowed them to leave the man and to rush into the pigs, who then all went crazy in a frenzy and ran off the cliff and into the ocean and drowned. The swineherds were frightened and ran away to the town and told everyone what had happened. And the people came out to see you, Jesus, and they saw the man who had been possessed by Legion, the demon, or the demons, and they saw him sitting there. He was clothed and in his right mind. And the people of the town were seized with fear. And they, for some reason, turned to you, Jesus, and they asked you to leave their region. As you were getting onto the boat, the same man who had been possessed by the demon comes up to you and begs you that he could stay with you, that he could travel with you, that he could be your disciple. But Lord, you do not permit him. And instead, you tell him to go home and to proclaim to his family and to his friends all that the Lord has done for him. And to tell them about the mercy that the Lord has shown him, which is what he did. He went back to his region and proclaimed everything that he had done. And all the people were amazed. Jesus, there are so many curious things about this gospel, about the different reactions on your part, on the part of the demons, on the part of the people of the region. And it all seems to be a dynamic of, well, should I stay or should I go? Should he stay or should he go? Do we wish he would stay or do we wish he would go? Because let's look at it. As soon as you arrive, the demons shriek from the man, Don't throw us out of this territory. And then they say, "Please, please, please, let us go into the pigs." And then later on, the people come up to you, the people of the territory. They ask you, Lord, they beg you to leave their region. And then when you actually are going, then the man who had been possessed comes up to you and begs you to stay with you. When the demons begged you to go into the pigs, you allowed it. But when this man begs to follow you and to be your disciple, you do not allow it. It's all this dynamic of begging you to stay, begging you to be allowed to stay, begging you to go, begging you to be allowed to go with you. And you give permission to the demons to leave the man, but you don't give permission to the man to follow you. We also get another weird contrast, Lord, which is when the people come from the towns and from the city and see the man who had been possessed, when they see him in his right mind and dressed and sitting, they're afraid. But later on, when they hear all of the marvelous things that were proclaimed by the man who had been possessed, they weren't afraid, they were amazed. So many unusual attitudes, Lord. So many hard things to explain. But here's one thing we can take away from this gospel. That, Lord, you, the Son of God, were somehow unable to evangelize the Gerasenes. As soon as you got over there, you cast the demon out of one of their citizens, which seems like a sign of deliverance, something to celebrate. Why didn't they bring you more possessed people and more sick people? Instead, they were frightened, and they asked you to leave. You were not accepted by them. You, Jesus Christ, Son of God, God made man, were not able to evangelize the Gerasenes. But when the man who had been possessed stayed behind and began to proclaim throughout all of the region all that you had done for him, all the people who heard him were amazed. They were afraid of you, Lord, but they were amazed when they heard about you from one of their own people. That's an important lesson for us, Jesus. That you depend on us, being a person of our time, speaking to them about you and about the marvels that you have worked in our life. Sometimes people aren't attracted to you immediately, Lord. Sometimes people hear your words and are bored or put off. But when they see your teachings incarnated in our lives, instead of being put off or confused or afraid, when they see Christian life incarnated in other people like them, then they might be amazed, edified, attracted, curious. Lord, you want to shine through us in our age among our friends and family. Cast out our demons and help us to proclaim the wonders that you have worked in our lives. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this time of prayer. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.